Hello everyone, welcome to Vab Fashion's YouTube channel. My name is Eunice. Thank you for clicking on this video. In today's video, we're going to be learning how to make an armhole princess bustier with scalloped Queen Anne's neckline. In this video, you're going to be learning how to neatly finish your neckline and still achieve a Queen Anne's yoke with your scallop on the neckline. What do I mean by scallop? Can you see the lace edges on the neckline? You see how the neckline just comes out really beautiful. This is a very simple and interesting tutorial. Just pay attention and you will get it right. So thank you. Let's get started. So to achieve this style, these are the fabrics I'll be using. Here is my lace fabric and I have my satin, which will serve as the lining for the lace. And then I have my lining that will serve as the second lining. We're making lace, so you need to line the lace first before you go ahead and line the cloth properly. So I'll be double lining this lace. And then I also have my hasty that I'll be using to stabilize the upper bodies to give it that nice structure. And then I also have my breast pad or wadding that I'll be using to pad up the bust area. So to get started, these are the measurements we need to achieve the style. So now that we know the measurements we'll be using to achieve this style, I'll be drafting the upper bodies first and I'll be drafting directly on my satin. So to determine the amount of fabric to fold for the upper bodies, I'm going to be dividing the bust by 4 plus 4 inches. So that 4 inches will give me all the necessary allowance and the darts that I need. So, and the bust here is 36 inches. 36 divided by 4, that is 9. 9 plus 4, that's 13. So I'll fold over my 13 inches. So I have my 13 inches folded over. So first I'm going to draw my starting line, which will serve as the shoulder line. So here's our shoulder line. Next is the bust point. From shoulder to bust point is 10 inches. From shoulder to under bust is 13 inches. Shoulder to half length is 16, then plus half inch for joining the up and down part together. So that is 16.5. Having done that, now we'll come to the shoulder line. I'll mark 3 inches and then I'll go ahead and mark 8 inches, which is half of our shoulder measurement. So at this 8 inches mark here, I'll come down by 1 inch to create the shoulder slant. And then I'll slant it towards the 3 inches mark. So having done that now, I'll enter the shoulder measurement plus half inch for joining the sleeve, so which is going to be 8.5. So this is the extra half inch that we're going to be using to join the sleeve. So that's my 8.5. So from this point here, I'll come down by the armhole measurement of my client, which is to get the armhole measurement, you divide the bust by 6 plus 1.5, and that gave me 7.5 inches. So here's my 7.5 inches mark. Then I'll go ahead and reconfirm my 8.5, which is what I have here on the shoulder line, so that I can achieve a straight line. So here's our 8.5. So I'm going to draw a straight line now. So here's our chest line now, which is also the armhole line. So to create the armhole curve now, I'll come here to the midpoint of the armhole here by folding my tape into two like this. So here is the midpoint. I'll go in by 3/4 of an inch. And then I'll connect it back like this. And go ahead and curve it to this point. So now we have our front armhole. So now I'll come to the bust point here. I'll mark her nipple to nipple is 7 inches. So 7 divided by 2, that's 3.5. I'll add half inch to it because I'll be using it to join both the center piece and the side piece. So here is our 4 inches. I'll bring the same 4 inches down to the underbust line, then down to the waistline. So once we have that, I'm going to connect it this way. Then this is now going to be our center piece, and this is going to be the side. So on the center here, I will go in by half of an inch on the underbust line. So this is half of an inch here, half of an inch here on the waistline also. So now I'll come to the bust point and enter the bust measurement. So the bust divided by 4, that is 9 inches. On the underbust line now, her underbust measurement is 28 inches. 28 divided by 4, that is 7 inches. The difference between the bust and the underbust determines our dart intake. So remember that we have taken half inch here at this point, at this side. So here 9 minus 7, that will give us 2 inches. And we have already taken half on this side. So now I'm going to enter the remaining 1.5 inches here. So I'll connect my lines like this. Okay. So I want to curve this line here now to the bust point line. So from the bust point here, I will come down by half of an inch from the bust point and then place my curve this way to connect to this point. And then I'll also do the same thing on this side. You can see that this side is not as curvy as this. That's the center. Can you see that? So having done my dart intake at the underbust and the waistline, now we want to connect it to the armhole. We're making an armhole princess dart. So from this midpoint of the armhole, I will come down by half of an inch. From the midpoint of the armhole, I'll come down by half of an inch. And then you can already see that from the bust point, I've gone up by half inch. So I'll place my curve like this, my armhole curve this way. And then I'll come down to this half inch that I have here. You see that? So these are darts for the armhole. So we have been able to achieve our armhole princess bustier. So now the next thing we're going to do is this. Whatever your dart intake is here, we have a total of 2 inches and 2 inches here. I'm going to be extending this side piece at the armhole area by that. If not, you're going to have a shortage when you join the both of them together. So take note that this is where the actual armhole stops, and that's where it will be stopping for the center piece. But for this side now, that's for the side piece, I will come in by 1.5 or the same 2 inches you have here. So this is my 1.5 here. This is because when you're joining the side and the center, the center tends to be longer. So this will actually make this now shorter. So that is why I'm extending it at this point. So now I'm going to bring it this way. Can you see? So now this is the armhole for the side and this is the armhole for the center. So now we'll come here and enter our actual measurements and add our sewing allowances. So the bust is 9 inches plus my 2.5 inches. 2 inches is actually the actual allowance, but half inch we need it to join this side and we need the other half inch for turning our lining. So I'm adding 2.5 inches. So here on the underbust line, we'll enter the underbust measurement. Quarter of the underbust measurement is 7 inches. So can you see, if we leave it at this 7 inches, by the time we cut our dart, we're going to have a big shortage. So you have to replace what you have lost here as your dart. So we'll replace back that 2 inches and then we'll add our 2.5 inches, which is our sewing allowance. So here I'll be repeating the same thing. Our waist measurement is also the same, 28 inches. So here is my 7 inches plus 2 inches, which is for our dart intake, and then 2.5 inches, which is our sewing allowance. So here we are done with this. I'm just going to connect my lines like this. So now we have our side piece and we have our center piece. So now to achieve our Queen Anne's neckline, I'm going to come here now on the shoulder line. I'll mark 2.5 inches on the shoulder line. So this is 2.5 inches. Then I will come down by 6.5 inches. So here's my 6.5 inches. So you remember I marked 2.5 inches here. I'm just going to come here too and mark the same 2.5 inches. So I'm going to connect it with a straight line like this. So once I have done that, on this line that I have here, I will go up by 2.5 inches. So at this 2.5 inches, I will come in by 1.5 inches. Can you see that? I came down by 6.5 inches, and then on this line here I went up by 2.5 inches. So from this point I came out by 1.5 inches to achieve the Queen Anne's neckline. Now I want to connect this point to this point. So I'll place my curve like this. You see that? And then I'll connect this point to this point here. So now you can see my neckline. I now have my Queen Anne's neckline. But if you took note of the video I showed us at the beginning of the style, you'll notice that it has another shape here at this down part that had the scallop part of the lace, because the Queen Anne's neckline had the scallop part of the lace, and then here also we also have the scalloped part of the lace. So now this is what I will do to achieve that. From this point here, this is the center point of the armhole. From this point I will go up by 1 inch. That shape now, you can see I've gone up here by 1 inch. So now I'm going to connect this 1 inch to this point here. To this point here, I'll just come down by like half of an inch here. This is what I'm doing. Can you see? So this is just half inch below the actual neckline of the Queen Anne. So you can see half inch below the neckline like this. So I'm just going to use my the curved part of my armhole pattern master to draw this. Can you see? So this part will serve as the Queen Anne's neckline, which will be like the yoke that will be using the scalloped part of the lace to achieve. And then this side is going to be our armhole, princess armhole bustier. So now we're going to go ahead and cut out. But before that, I'm going to be taking away the difference between the front and the back. For this person, our difference is 1.5 inches. So remember that our back length and our front length are not the same. So at the side here, I will go up by 1.5 inches. So meaning that her back length is 14.5 and her front length is 16 inches. So I'll just go ahead and slant it this way. I'll finish it here at this dart leg. So we are done with our front piece. So now we'll go ahead and cut. First, I'll start with the Queen Anne's neckline. So you can see our dart here. So this is off. So now we'll cut the new armhole. So can you see this is our bust point? Can you see now that I place them together? Can you see that if we hadn't done that, imagine that we cut at this curve, which is the armhole curve. Can you see? This would have been a very big shortage. So you can see that this is where it's going to stop. So all I need to do now is just to trim out this half-inch excess that I have here. So now we'll take out this part. So for this side, which is going to be our yoke, the pin ant yoke, I will go up by half of an inch here. Remember that we're taking out half inch for our dart. So I'm going up by half of an inch here on the shoulder line. I'll take it back like this. So now we have this. So I'll come here and cut the shape that we have here. So this will serve as our yoke. And we're going to be using the scalloped part of our lace. So I'm going to be cutting this open because it will be sewn deep inside of it. So now this is what we have. And here are the front pieces. So here's our front piece, our front pieces. You can see I also have my lace, and this is it. So now I want to create that scalloped shape here that we're going to have. So this is the leftover of my fabric. So this is what I'll be doing. I'll measure what I have here on this neckline and then show us what to do. So I have 8 inches to this point. So I have a total of 16.5 inches. So from this scalloped edge of the lace, I'm going to be cutting about, let's say I'm going to cut 20 inches. I'll cut 20 inches. I can always trim out my excess. So I'll just straighten this part with my iron, my 20 inches here, and I'll be cutting 1 inch. The length will be 1 inch. Yes, so this is the part I'll be using for the neckline. So now you can see that we have this. Remember that all parts of this, the Queen Anne's neckline must have the scalloped part. So this is what I'm going to be doing. Remember I said I was going to be separating them. So I'll come here now and just cut this open like this. Can you see? So from this point here, I'll just go ahead and cut like this. So you can see I've cut out this part. So we want to achieve our scalloped neckline. So I'll bring in my lace fabric now. So I'll be cutting this part first. I'll be adding 1 inch to this part because I'll be using it for my sewing allowance. Remember that we cut directly on our fabric. So we need 1 inch. Half inch will be for the sewing allowance, and then half inch will be for the front piece. That's to replace what we're going to be losing from here. So that is why I'm going to be making this 1 inch longer than the actual length. So this is what I'm going to do now. I'll fold, so I'll place it using the lace mouth like this, the lace edge like this. Can you see? So I'll now go ahead and mark from this point. I'll come down by 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch like this. And then of course I'm going to follow this same shape that I have here. So this is it here. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. I'm just going to give it this curved shape that I have here, just a little. So you can see I have 2 of this now, which is replacing this. You can see that it is 1 inch longer than the actual length. So now to cut this side of the Queen Anne's neckline, I'll also go ahead and fold my lace into two like this. And then I'll place it this way. So it's already folded into two. I can as well use one. And you see, this is the part for the Queen Anne's neckline here. So I'm just going to place it like this. Can you see what I'm doing? I'll place it like this and make sure that I have half of an inch coming down here. So here is my half of an inch. So I'll go ahead and cut out like this. So you can see that I now have my two pieces. So this is what we want to achieve. I'm going to place it like this. So this will be sewn this way. This will be sewn this way. You see? So now you can see that I have my scalloped Queen Anne's neckline. You can see I have the scallops on the neckline like this. Can you see? And see, I've sewn my V shape. Can you see what we have here? And see, so by sewing that way, you can see that I now have a V shape. And this is what we'll be doing. We'll sew it into this part. So you can go ahead and trim out this part, which is what I'm going to be doing. So now that I've trimmed it out, I want to make sure that this part aligns with the middle here. Are you seeing it? This will align with the middle here, and this will align with this part here. So I'm going to pin it this way like this. The center versus the center. So first, to make it easy for you, just all you need to do is to notch this center front here. So I'll place it over like this center part, and then to this side. I'm going to pin it like this. I'm going to be stitching it down this way from here to here now. So now I've gotten to the center here. You lift up your footer like this and flip this over. So this is what it looks like on the right side, on the wrong side. You see? So I'm going to press it down. This is the part that will carry my lining. This part, this scallop part, my lining will not get to this part. This is the part that will carry my lining. So now I'll press it and then show us how to fix the Queen Anne's yoke. I've pressed my scallop part. Can you see how it's coming out really well? So this is what I have here. So now I'll bring in the yoke. So first for my yoke, take note that this is the remaining part of the armhole. This is the remaining part of the upper armhole. This is the midpoint. The midpoint of the armhole is 3.5 inches. That's okay. The armhole is 7.5. So the midpoint of the armhole is 3 3/4. So can you see what I have here? I have a total of 3/4 minus the scallop part. I have a total of 3/4 here. So if this is 3/4, meaning that this part should give me 3 inches plus half that I'll be using to join it to this part. So you must make sure that you have that at the right measurement here. So now this is it. So I'll place my tape like this and see that I have 3.5, then plus half. This is going to be for joining the shoulder measurement. Remember that I added ½ inch to the shoulder measurement. This will actually be for joining the shoulders together. So I have a total of 4 inches here. So now you can see how I placed it like this. So for this one, I'll also do the same thing like this. Place it this way. Make sure that I have the same 4 inches. 3.5 is what I should have now. ½ inch is for joining the shoulders together. So once I place it this way, so you can see I have my 4 inches. So I'll also pin it this way. So can you see? So that by the time they meet here together, can you see our Queen Anne's neckline is coming out exactly the way it should be. So I'm going to top stitch this part now, and then also top stitch this part and show us how to fix it to the neckline. So I've sewn my yoke together. And you see that I have my neckline the way it should be. So now I'll bring in the front piece like this. I'll place it here like this. Because this will also come here and stop in the middle here. Can you see? So this is what we'll have. So you see this part is scalloped and this part is scalloped. So I'm also repeating the same pinning process here. I'll also pin it this way, center like this. Okay, see? And this is what I have. So I'm going to be stitching it down from here to here. I'll repeat the same thing from here to here. The other side, I'm going to flip it over like this. So you see what we have. So I'm going to press it now, and then I'll show us how to fix our lining. So you can see I've pressed it, and this is what I have. I also went ahead to just tack this place down. That's with my sewing machine. I just stitched it down so that it doesn't open. And this is what we have in at the back side. So now it's time for us to sew our lining. So I'll make sure to shift this yoke down this way, and then place my lining. Lining will be facing the good side of the fabric like this. I'll pin it all the way to this point. So I haven't pinned it now. I'm going to be stitching from the wrong side so that I can stitch on my previous stitch, or just 1/8 of an inch below the previous stitch. Take note that my lining is on the wrong side, and take note that I have also shifted my yoke downwards, which you have on the wrong side. And you see, so I've neatly used my lining to turn the neckline, and this is what it looks like on the right side. I'm just going to make sure to press it nicely, and then I'll show us what we have. So now we're done with fixing our yoke, and I've gone ahead to press the neckline. So this is what it looks like on the right, on the wrong side. You can see how neat it is. And this is what we have on the right side. Can you see how Queen Anne's neckline comes out very perfect and the scalloped shape? You can also see it coming down this way. So we have come to the end of this video. If you have watched up to this point and you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please kindly hit the subscribe button to subscribe and also put on your notification bell so that you get notified once I post a new video. Thank you for watching. See you in my next one. Bye.